What a wild day in the markets. And usually when I say that, well, it means that gold and silver have continued to climb in an upwards direction. But that is not what happened today. They both got hammered hard. But what's next for gold and silver may have already begun. Let's talk about it in this video as we explore. I strongly feel that what we saw today might be rather the exception than the rule in what we're going to be seeing in the coming months. But that's just a sort of a feeling, a gut feeling that I have. A gut feelings and based, at least in my part, somewhat on what's going on in the country and the market sentiment. But nonetheless, things do change, and they can change rather rapidly. And I think we're going to see the prices recover some of the losses that we've been seeing, and they've already begun doing that. But before we get into what happened in those losses, if you made a purchase earlier in the day when the prices plunged pretty dramatically, and if you bought from Summit Metals where they have very competitive prices, well, you're probably sitting pretty right now or pretty happy with timing the bottom of the market, at least for today. Who knows what tomorrow brings, but Summit Metals is a place that I encourage all of my viewers to at least consider before making a purchase to see if they have the lowest price possible. And they do have a very good service as well as fast shipping. So check them out at summitmetals.com and elevate your wealth with Summit Metals. So what's going on with the market right now? Well, here is what the numbers are moments before the markets close. Gold is down $36. That's a 1.22% drop, a pretty good clip to the downside, to $2,918.30. But it did get as low as $2,884.90. So it dipped below $2,900 quite a bit earlier in the day. So it's starting to recover a little bit now. Silver, on the other hand, well, it is down almost 2%. It's down 1.9% now, down 61 cents to $31.81. It did get down to as low as $31.25 earlier in the day. It has made a recovery of some of those losses. And I think people were, what's going on here is they're taking profits right now. I'm going to be referencing an article here from Reuters that gives us a little bit of insight as to what happened today, but I'm going to put my 2 cents in there as well, as gold has hit 1 week low as investors cash in and trade war fears persist. Gold prices dropped to the lowest level in over a week on Tuesday as investors booked profits after a record high in the previous session on ongoing fears of instability around U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff plans. Spot gold fell 1.4% to below $2,900 an ounce, and this is having hit its lowest level since February the 17th earlier in this session. Gold hit its highest level for $2,956.15 just yesterday. U.S. gold futures settled 1.5% lower as well. You're seeing profit taking as well as people looking to get to the sidelines and reestablish positions at a lower price, according to Bob Habercorn, who's a senior market strategist at RJO Futures. Safe Haven Gold has hit 11 record highs this year so far. 11. That's pretty amazing. Gold just continues just to shoot up, and pullbacks like this have been fairly rare. Surpassing the significant $2,950 an ounce milestone. Trump said on Monday that tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports were on time and on schedule. In other words, they are coming. And despite efforts by the countries to beef up border security and halt the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. ahead of the March 4th deadline. Now, keep in mind, there's two sets of tariffs here. The punitive tariffs, which are 25%, I think, on Mexico, that is a different type of tariff other than the reciprocal tariff, which are indeed on time and on schedule. Now, again, it may be between those and these other punitive tariffs for not securing the border. That could be coming. They might have both of them. Will silver and gold be a part of it? We'll find out on March 4th. That's the deadline. And so I think it's got markets nervous to some extent, which is one of the reasons why the prices have been up. But what will happen? What if we find out that there's going to be no tariffs, no taxes on gold and silver coming into the country, and that won't be affected? Could gold and silver prices plunge even down more than where they're at now? It is a possibility because there's a lot of hype around it. And one of the reasons why I'm showing you purely British gold and silver products here is sort of paying homage to what has been happening specifically and mostly from the London market. The Central Bank of England, the Bank of England, and the LBMA vaults, you're seeing a lot of gold and silver fall away from those vaults and move to the United States, in part because of these tariff fears. Now, some theorize that gold, especially, is being sent here and being repatriated or patriated here to the United States so that we can set up a gold revaluation schedule and or in order to beef up our gold reserves. Because something's got to change, and maybe there's serious efforts to try to do something about the debt and the deficit spending here in the United States. The Doge team is working on that on one angle, but really, in a sense, what they've done so far, even though it's substantial, is still a drop in the bucket compared to how much deficit spending there is and debt there is in the United States. And Congress isn't helping with their latest proposal, which is still going to increase deficits here in the United States. There's no sense of real fiscal responsibility on that angle, and that's a shame. It should not be the case here, but nonetheless, you and I, we have to live within our means, but yet the government can't, or won't, apparently. They can, they just choose not to do it, and Congress is not helping matters. Now, I still think that there's enough uncertainty out there associated with tariffs and trade more generally. Dips are going to continue to be viewed as buying opportunities, according to Peter Grant, who's the vice president and senior metal strategist at Zaner Metals. And I think that is the case. I think that especially if we see the prices continue to drop, I've always theorized that, if the tariff situation goes to the wayside and we settle in with whatever is the reality, that the gold prices will come back somewhat. I don't know how far back they'll go, and silver will follow, at least in the short term. But of course, if there's lower economic activity, which is a real problem, well, that is going to be essentially means that silver could fall even more because there's not going to be as much demand for it. Gold speculators cut net long positions by 13,605 contracts to 201,962 in the week to February 18th. Meanwhile, investors and economists expect the U.S. Federal Reserve to respond strongly and systematically to changes in inflation in the labor market, according to research published on Monday by the San Francisco Fed. Higher inflation may force the Fed to keep rates higher, tarnishing non-yielding gold's appeal. Folks, we're not going to see rate cuts for a while, if at all this year, especially considering how inflation is really becoming more entrenched right now. It is certainly an unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in, but they're not going to do much. And even though Trump himself would like to see rates be cut more, it has not happened, and likely he's not going to get his way on that, until such a time as when he 2026, when Jerome Powell's term expires, and then who knows? I'd like to see Judy Shelton get in there, but that's a subject for another video. Meanwhile, investors and economists expect that the Federal Reserve, like I said, are going to keep their rates unchanged, and I doubt they're going to raise rates either. Investors now await Friday's release of U.S. personal consumption expenditures report, the Fed's preferred inflation hedge, or gauge rather, for insights into the central bank's rate easing path and monetary policy. And of course, silver usually gets hit harder than gold in these cases, and such as was the case today. So keep in mind that means the gold-silver ratio will remain high. That's not expected to change anytime soon unless there's a radical shift to the upside with gold and silver prices. And of course, platinum and palladium prices have been sort of mixed today, and rhodium actually went up a little bit. But nonetheless, Folks, we are about 70 viewers who have not subscribed to the channel yet, short of 90,000 subscribers. Once we hit 90,000 subscribers, then I'm going to untube and unseal a tube of half-ounce Noah's Ark coins to show you all. And it'll be quite interesting. I've never opened this tube up. I've had it since about 2013 to 2012 year issue, so it's going to be a lot of years that it has been stuck in that tube, and we're going to free them on this channel. I need to get that tube out and actually have it in my videos once we reach there. And I appreciate the increased viewership that I've seen on the videos this month. This is actually my best month ever. It's growing a little faster now, and I appreciate all of you who have taken the time to watch, which includes my regular viewers and also my new subscribers that have joined in and new viewers. Welcome, one and all. I appreciate you all being here. The tagline of this channel is multitude of gratitude, which means that I'm really appreciative of you. It's been that way since the beginning, and I do appreciate each and every one of you for being here. So with that being said, if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will consider doing it. On this video, I do daily videos and market reports, and not only about what's going on in the world of precious metals, also do videos on tips for stacking and other videos talking about precious metals. So I hope you will consider subscribing. With that, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.